I'm an addict named Janis. I asked Craig how long I was supposed to talk, and he said, long as you want. And I said, no, don't think so. Oh, how exciting. I don't want to forget. You know, I was looking for, I want to show you what I wrote here. I was looking to see what I wanted to do because this is a service convention. And so it was really important for me to stay in the line of service. So there's one thing that I've done at a service convention before, and it was recovery and service, the ABCs of service. So I looked for words in the dictionary, my dictionary called the Basic Text, of service in Narcotics Anonymous. So anyway, I'll go there probably, or not. This is like way exciting. I drove here from Los Angeles. I love driving. I get to listen to tapes, get to listen to Narcotics Anonymous. I love the program of Narcotics Anonymous. This has been so awesome this weekend. This is a great convention. I've been around for quite a number of years since I was looking at some of the, I want to call them flyers. What are they? Banners. Some of the banners over there. And I'm realizing how much I remember how the conventions have changed over the years and the people who have been in service. I love service in Narcotics Anonymous. I've been of service in Narcotics Anonymous almost since I got clean. I first came to Narcotics Anonymous through another fellowship who felt I belonged in Narcotics Anonymous. Took me a little while to realize that I was clean and in recovery. And you know what? It was because I think for me at that time, because my whole life I've spent blaming other people for everything. And the reason I wasn't clean, but I became clean and sober when I first got here, is because people kept getting on me about using that word. I think probably if they would have let me just leave me alone, and I'm not talking about using that word in service, I'm talking about using that word as part of my life. And I've learned in Narcotics Anonymous I don't need to, but I had to learn that myself. And I guess that's one of the soapboxes for me, is how sometimes we beat people up in this fellowship instead of loving them into Narcotics Anonymous. And for me, loving somebody into the program is so way important. So, looking at, oh, Dave, I wanted to thank you very much for bringing me up here. Dave told everyone there's a bid meeting after I'm done, and the bid meeting is to find out who gets it in 2 years. Well, I want to get it within 2 years. So. Oh God, Sunday morning. What is she talking about? It? Okay. Anyway, so the ABCs of service. A is for addict. And that's really important. Being of service in Narcotics Anonymous, I'm Janis and I am an addict. I'm not an addict in anything else. What is so awesome about this fellowship is we talk about the disease of addiction. I don't have to be anything else. The disease of addiction covers every bit of my behavior, no matter what I do. Yes, our commonality here are drugs. I'm an addict. The disease of addiction manifests itself in me in all kinds of ways. So when I stop using drugs, I get to take a look at how it manifests itself. See, there's only one disease. I don't become addicted to this as one disease and addicted to that as another. I have the disease of addiction. Whether it be the drugs that I use, the shopping I do, the gambling, the people, the sex, yeah, what's wrong with that one? Some things take me longer to get rid of than others. So however the disease manifests itself for me on any particular day, and that's the stuff I get to work on in this program. When I see the powerlessness, and Jimmy said that last night, and I thought it was so great. I'm powerless over drugs when I'm using them. If I'm not using, I'm not powerless over them. I have a choice today. I have the choice today to not use. And as long as I don't use, I have a choice. So, addict. A is for addict. A is also for alcoholic. Being of service in Narcotics Anonymous, I shall repeat that I am an addict. Not an ANDA. And somebody once told me when I got here that when I say I am an addict and an alcoholic, I'm saying I am a rose and a flower. I am an addict. So we don't use any other words when we identify in Narcotics Anonymous. One of the other words that I thought was really important for me, one of the other A words, was attitude. One of the things that I really learned in my recovery is the importance of my own attitude. I have a choice. I didn't know I had a choice. I thought you created my choices. You made me mad. You hurt me. You caused me pain. And if you would just straighten up, my life would be okay. Not. Narcotics Anonymous has taught me the one thing, that I have total 100% choice of my attitude. You cannot make me angry. You cannot cause me pain. You cannot create hurt within me. Now, that doesn't mean you can't say things where I'm going to feel hurt. I don't want anybody to think that. I just want it known that I have the choice of what I tell myself about what you say that creates the feeling inside of me. So it gives me a little bit more leeway to understand that even though I may automatically feel anger or automatically feel hurt, I do have a choice somewhere in there to say, you know what, I'm not willing to feel this any longer. And it may be that as part of my attitude, I need to be able to talk with you. And that's the gift that I get here in this program, is that I can do that. The old I feel when you, bitch. Oh, that's a B word too, isn't it? So B, basic text. The only basic, we have a basic text in Narcotics Anonymous. It is a basic text. It is not the big book of Narcotics Anonymous. It is Narcotics Anonymous basic text. This is the text. Can you hear me back? Is it coming back to me as I'm talking? Oh, I feel like I'm not. Mark is out there with the recorder going, what the hell is she doing? God, I love this program. Okay, so, you know, it's like I come up here, I don't have to do anything. I could totally fuck up this morning. My room's been paid for the weekend. My car's already packed. It doesn't matter what I do up here. I'm out of here. You know, when somebody sucks, you remember they sucked for 10 minutes, you go on with your life, and then the next time you see them a year later, you don't remember if they were the one that sucked, because you've been to so many meetings and heard so many speakers that you're not really sure. So one more time you're going to listen to them and go, So anyway. So B is also for behavior. Our behavior and being of service in Narcotics Anonymous, everything that we do when we are of service in Narcotics Anonymous, how we act, how we behave, reflects on Narcotics Anonymous. We'd like to say that's not true, but it is. And you know, it's really kind of funny actually when I could stand up here and say stuff like that, and I could do something that might be a little bit silly, and I'm 55 years old, and you're going to think, oh, she's cute, you know, she's just being silly, she's being cute. But those of you out there that are pretty young and you do it, you're going to get judged on the same behavior more than I am. I wish that wasn't a true statement, but it is. And at the same time, I understand that there's just some behaviors that are going to look bad no matter what. My language, I have to be real fucking careful in the language that I use when I'm out there, okay? When I tell people about Narcotics Anonymous, my behavior, my attitude, when I'm talking about the fellowship, because you see, when I'm going out and doing perhaps H&I work, then I'm talking about some of my story and where I come from. But I'm also wanting to tell people how Narcotics Anonymous has helped me. Because if you're new, or you're in a recovery, or you're in a jail, you want to know that Narcotics Anonymous works. When I go out, if I'm going out to do PI, I'm not telling them my story. I'm telling them a little bit about Narcotics Anonymous. And there's a difference there. I'm really grateful for this fellowship, and I'm beyond grateful. I'm an old street dope fiend. I came into this fellowship when I was just shy of my 40th birthday. And I am so grateful for what I've been given here. There have been people that have given me things that I didn't want, until I learned later that I needed to have them in order for my own personal growth. And since then, what I've learned is that I get to continue to, I get to choose, first of all, that great choice of, do I want this or don't I want it? And the stuff that I don't want, I get to look at and see what it is about that doesn't work for me. So it helps me. I have a sponsor that told me, my sponsor tells me about not judging, to observe. Because I often tell her that I would love to have 10 minutes out of my whole day where I wasn't judging another human being. The difference today is in Narcotics Anonymous, I've learned that within that judgment, I still get to keep my mouth shut. I don't have to tell you about it. I get to pray. I get to do whatever it is I need to do to bring love back into me. And one of the things my sponsor told me, she says, don't judge, just observe. I can observe how, see, every time I want to judge somebody on the street, I want to judge somebody by how they look. I want to judge somebody by the things that they do and the way that they talk. And I know every time I do this, this is about me. This isn't about them. And if I keep remembering it's about me, then I get to take a look at the changes that I want to make for me. So, and that's a good C word, huh? The changes. I get to change in Narcotics Anonymous. I get to grow. I have a commitment to Narcotics Anonymous. And I want to tell you that with 16 years clean, that with my commitment in Narcotics Anonymous, part of it is also a commitment to me. So sometimes I do turn down an NA request. Whoa. Of course I do. Of course I do, because there are times I need to take care of me. I'm planning on doing this. I don't stop the rest of my life. Because of Narcotics Anonymous, I have a rest of my life. The word commitment to me, and this is really important for me, is very important, the word commitment. When I make a commitment in Narcotics Anonymous, you can bet your life on me. That is something that is so important. When I make a commitment in my life or in Narcotics Anonymous, once I make that commitment, you can bet your life that I'm going to keep that commitment. Or at least call. I mean, you know what? I'm not 100%, I guess. I always want to say that because I would never bet my life on another human being anyway. I keep my commitments. If I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And I think that's very important. One of the things that I've learned, because it's real easy in here to let my ego get in the way. So I'm going to be of service in NA, and I commit to speaking at a meeting 2 months from now. Then somebody calls me and says, we'd really like to have you come to this convention. I keep my commitment to that meeting because that is so important to me. If I let my ego get in the way of the picking and the choosing, then you know what'll happen for me? I'll start being of service to doctors and lawyers and people who have money, and I'll forget to be of service to the old street dope fiend who's homeless coming off the street when I let my ego get in the way. So, commitment is really important to me. Another C word is control. Now, not that I've ever attempted to be in control of anything. I have spent, I came in Narcotics Anonymous with my whole life under the illusion of control. I truly believed I had control. What an amazing thing. It's kind of like, I always think of Atlas Shrugged, with the world on his shoulders. And all you have to do is shrug, and it'll fall. How nice not to have to carry the whole world. I knew where to go, how to tell you to get there, write the directions out for you, make sure you understand everything on how to do it, and not believed that your way may or may not have worked. It won't work, because my way's better. It has taken me so many years. And and I always think of this, if all the way out here my right hand is total perfection, peace, and serenity, and here my left hand is where, when I came in, I may only be this short distance, but I'm a hell of a lot farther than when I got here. Because the rest of it is now smaller increments. I really think of like when you have a little kid, and the most growth is when they're little. I mean, they grow so quickly. And that's what I got to have in here, is to have that quicker growth. And now I have to keep catching that stuff to keep making the changes, because I don't want to be the person that I was when I got here. I want to stay with that one for a minute. Control is like been such an important thing for me. And I have to catch myself on a daily basis. That's part of the judging, by the way, because I want to be in control. This person isn't doing it the way I think that they ought to do it. And so every time I get to back off, it doesn't mean that it isn't in here. It means I get to call on God to help me let go of something. And it's a great challenge. It's like when I get in a car with somebody I know a shortcut how to get from point A to point B. And I ask them, do you know where we're going, or do you need me to give you direction? When they say, I know where we're going, I shut up. Whew. It's really hard to do, especially when they go the wrong way. What I also don't say is, you should have turned there. I shut up. Not for them, for me. Now, that doesn't mean the stuff isn't still going on in here. I asked. They said thanks. That's it. And that's what I've learned how to do in my life, and that stuff isn't easy. It's easy to talk the talk standing up here. It's a lot tougher to do it when I'm out there. So, the disease for D, the disease of addiction. I have the disease of addiction. When we carry the message of Narcotics Anonymous, that's what we're carrying. Not the disease. I mean, we're letting people know about the disease of addiction. It's kind of funny, really. Hell with you, I enjoy myself. I'm carrying the message and talking about the disease of addiction because so many people that I meet who are new in recovery have this, as most of us do or did, have that feeling of, I'm useless, I'm no good, look what I did. And so it's important for us to let people know about the disease of addiction and the defects. Jimmy talked about that last night. And I have a bit of a challenge with that myself as a woman in recovery. First, I want to preface this by saying I believe in the readings, I believe in the steps, I believe in everything that we have, and I would never change them. When we read from the podium, I want these words read. It isn't up to us to make cute little comments or make changes. I make changes in my head for what works for me. I'm not saying this out of arrogance. I look at a step like, for me, the 6th step, where we make a list of our defects of character. I was so defective when I came to Narcotics Anonymous within myself. I started working steps, and I started being okay with who I am. And then to get to a 6th step and have somebody say, okay, now I want you to sit down and make a list of all the defects in your character, after I'm finally learning that my character is not defective. Now, I understand it's just semantics. For me, I got to say, I need to list negative behaviors. Behaviors that don't work for me for a positive recovery. And by making a list of negative behaviors, things that I was doing and still sometimes do, rather than look at defects in my character, I was able to see changes that I needed to make. So this is something that was very important for me. Another D. If you're doing H&I, you know about the do's and don'ts. We have do's and don'ts. We have certain ways to behave when we go into facilities. It's not my way. We write these things out in Narcotics Anonymous because it seems to be what works the best for most. It doesn't mean, there's no law, there isn't an NA law that if a girl goes into a boys' facility that you're going to be nailed to or whatever, that you shouldn't do that and no one's going to beat you up. We just found that it seems to work best, the boys with the boys and the girls with the girls. For some people that doesn't, and that's okay too. In being of service in Narcotics Anonymous, we do things a certain way. So we have do's and don'ts. We have ways that we talk to people. We bring somebody with us in doing a panel. We carry the message of Narcotics Anonymous. Our primary purpose, to carry the message. To carry the message to the addict who still suffers. You know, every time I hear that read, I think we are the only fellowship that has that tradition written that way, aside from addict. To carry the message. Every other fellowship has, each group has but one primary purpose, to carry its message, the group's message. We only have one message in all of Narcotics Anonymous, no matter what group. And think that one little word, how it makes such a difference in the fifth tradition. Fifth tradition, right? Go like this. Okay. Kind of like standing up here saying, you'd say anything and people are going like this, and then a year later they go, wait a minute. E, in the ABCs of service, enthusiasm. You say you love Narcotics Anonymous and you're going out to carry the message of Narcotics Anonymous, let your face know it. I really love this program. It is wonderful. I got clean in Narcotics Anonymous. Give me energy. Energy. I love Narcotics Anonymous. This is the best thing. This is the best thing that God ever made. Enthusiasm comes from a Greek word, by the way, entheo, God within. Isn't that a nice thing? So show the world that you've got God within when you carry the message of Narcotics Anonymous. Another E word that I've never had a problem with is ego. Yeah, in your dreams, Janis. Ego. One of the things that I see us, hear us, you know, we say a lot of things in this program. And we often repeat a lot of things that aren't necessarily true for us, but we say them because we've heard them passed on. I don't believe that there's anything wrong with a healthy ego. We all need to have a healthy ego. A healthy ego gives me boundaries. See, if I don't have a healthy ego, I will say yes to anything you ask me to do and hurt myself in the process of doing it. But as long as you're okay. And I spent my whole life that way. So I need this ego to be healthy. I need this ego to set boundaries. So having ego for me is not edging God out. Perhaps having ego with a capital E-G-O, if that makes it easier, might be. Because see, I can have a very big, unhealthy ego too. The egotist ego, as opposed to that healthy. I have boundaries and I care about me. And see, if I care about me, I could care about you. If I'm taking care of you and not me, that's not true. That's not a true statement for me. So I think that's something that's very, very important. F. Phone lines? Some people are going, yeah, F is for phone lines. Oh, gosh, I think that's funny, actually. I talk about phone lines anyway. Phone lines, for those of you who aren't sure, it doesn't really start with an F, but what the heck, it sounds like it. Phone lines is a great commitment in Narcotics Anonymous. It's the only commitment that I know of that you can do naked. Because you can do it at home. At least in my area, is it the same, go like this, the same for everybody else as the phones are transferred to your home? Okay. Or cell phones, yeah, well, if you're on your cell phone in here, don't do it naked, okay? It's such an awesome commitment. People call up, they need meeting information. They need information on how to get clean. Anybody here get clean because of a phone call, phone lines? This is one person. I think that's just phenomenal. If one person gets the message, it's worth every penny we spend. I've had phone calls when I did phone lines, and I felt so good when I was done with that call. And then when somebody would meet me at a meeting that night, it just would fill me up so much. Being of service in Narcotics Anonymous, no matter what, because I have a loving thing for each service commitment. And by the way, it isn't just the service commitments that we may be honoring here this weekend. Service commitments of coffee maker, of even sitting in the same seat week after week after week at a meeting and greeting people. We have so many high levels of service like that, going all the way down to world service. Doing the footwork in Narcotics Anonymous in order to stay clean, which is an F word too. Speaking of F words. And doing the footwork and making the changes for me. One of the things that I learned in doing the steps, in living the steps, is that I have to do the footwork to make the changes. This isn't something that just happens. It's kind of like we say in the steps that, or we do some type of negative behavior and then say something cute like, oh, God must have not removed that from me yet. Well, you know what? If I don't do the footwork and start noticing it, I don't believe that God's going to remove it. Because I think I'll keep acting out on it because that's what I do. There's always God's will. But for the rest of my life, there's also going to be Janis's will. I would like there to be 100% God's will. It's better. But Janis's will jumps up in there all the time. And when Janis's will jumps up, there's negative behaviors. And so I have to continue to do the footwork to make the changes in my life. I also have to do the footwork in order to be of service in Narcotics Anonymous. I have a lot of faith. Another F word. I have a lot of faith in this program. I also have a lot of faith in a loving God in my life. And I am so grateful, I am beyond grateful to have this loving God, this loving higher power. I call my higher power God. Somebody once said, I had a friend who says it's just short and easy to spell. I stopped fighting when I got here. That worked for me. That doesn't mean that you have to choose the word God for your higher power. We have it in the steps. It seems to be easier. I'm tired of fighting. I'm tired of having the need to be right. You can't make me. And you say, fine, Janis, whatever. And meanwhile, I'm in misery, and you're going on your merry way. I don't want to live like that anymore. I don't want to live in misery. And I know I have that choice. G, God. Talked about God for me. And this is all for me, by the way. Did I tell you that this is Janis's opinion up here, Janis's stuff? Narcotics Anonymous didn't appoint me to come to this convention and give you Narcotics Anonymous the right way. This is Janis's and what I do and what works for me. And I'm absolutely certain that if I stand up here 5 years from now, it'll be something different because I'll have learned more. What works for me today probably won't work as well 5 years from now. That's doing the footwork and making the changes for me. And as long as I keep this loving God, this loving higher power in my life, I will get to keep making those changes. I need to have a lot of growth. And I get the growth in Narcotics Anonymous. And I get the growth with another G word, giving. You see, it's so awesome in here. The more I give, the more I get back. I mean, I gotta give like this much. And I keep getting all this stuff coming back. Test it. Test it sometime by just letting go. Test it by, everybody in this room has been of service, I'm sure, of some way in Narcotics Anonymous. Doesn't it feel good? Doesn't it feel good when you do an H&I panel or go out on PI or do phone lines or make coffee at a meeting or greet somebody at the door and hug them? Isn't there some like really good feeling inside? You give that much. You get so much back. I believe, I want to say this right, that there's no wrong way to do the right thing. As long as it's the right thing all the way down the line. Like I can say, well, I'm being of service in NA. But if I'm hurting my family, then it isn't the right thing, no matter how good I am at being of service. I started being of service in Narcotics Anonymous because I got validated. The more service I took on, the more patting on the back I got. And, good job, Janis. Oh, that's really great. That's really good. And at that time, I needed that to fill me. I was only being of service. I was only doing phone lines, H&I, PI, in order to be validated. Because I needed that. I came here so empty. And you kept filling me and telling me how great I was, and that's a good job, and thanks for doing that, Janis. And as the time passed, I got to realize what being of service was all about. I don't know if there's any such thing as selfless service. That's another word that we use. I don't know if there's ever a such thing for me. Because every time I'm of service, I get so filled up. So I'm doing it because I like getting filled up with the feeling that's in here. So I don't imagine that it will ever be selfless, because I know if I do that little bit, I'm going to get all filled up inside. H. Am I on H? Yeah, H. H&I. I love H&I. Okay, I love going into prisons. I love going into recovery homes. And it sure reminds me where I came from. I love going into the jail and then walking out and hearing the doors close behind me. I love walking into the jail and smelling that smell. And knowing I get to leave it. I love the people that I get to go and carry a message to, whether it be in prisons and jail, in recovery homes. I love H&I. I just always have been, that's been a special love for me. And it gives us the opportunity again to carry the message. We carry another H message of hope. Hope is a wonderful thing. There's no such thing, in Janis's opinion, of false hope. Hope is hope. How can hope ever be false? We can always hope. What a gift that we can give. That gift that says, I'm seeing other people recover. They come from places like I come from. Maybe if I do what they did, I can stay clean too. What an awesome gift we get to give, that gift of hope. I think honesty, another H word, is very important for us when we carry the message of Narcotics Anonymous. Whether we're carrying the message in any line of service, I think honesty is really important. Because sometimes we let that E word, the ego, get in the way of the H word, honesty. Because I don't want to tell you what's really going on. And maybe there's places to tell what's really going on, and there's places that there's no point in it. I don't want to carry my misery into maybe a facility, but I'm damn sure going to tell you about it, so I don't have to carry it anymore. Honesty is very, very important for me. H is also having a higher power. Again, whether that higher power be God, whether that higher power be whatever, the meeting, the people. I think that one of the things that we get to see in here that it's having an other power. Just being able to have an other power, other than me. Because I came in here and I had this illusion that I was it. I looked at steps on the wall and I said, hey, you know, that's not for me. I don't need to do this inventory. I'm always honest about myself, telling everybody the truth, and I have no resentments. I've spent my whole life being a walking resentment, being so angry with people inside, and being not okay with who I am. And I never want to go there. Judgment is a J word. I'll be glad to give this to you if you'd like when I'm done. Yeah. She's writing down the words as I'm saying them. You can have this. I share anything. I came in here so closed up and not willing to give of myself unless there was a good payback for it, unless I was going to get more. I've learned in this program to be able to share. Because you see, there's room at the top for everyone. I don't have to compete with another human being in my life, in my real life, in NA, in anything. No one's going to take anything from me. You know, it's kind of like I want to stand up here and I have certain things that I might say, and then a year later or 6 months later or a week later somebody else says that and they don't give me credit. I don't care. What is one of the things we say in Narcotics Anonymous? What you hear here stays here. Please share anything that I say today with anybody else, because I am never going to share a deep dark secret from in a room that I don't want anyone to hear. So what you hear here, pass it on. And maybe we can bring somebody else to our fellowship. So the judgment, the J word, I talked a bit about that. That scares me a lot because I'm very judgmental. When I hear somebody speaking at a podium, I pray, God, please help me listen with love. Because you see, I want to judge. And I want to judge when if maybe I'm not feeling good about me. And so when I learn how to listen to people with love, I get this awesome message. I get this awesome, awesome message. J is also for joy. I ask you in being of service in Narcotics Anonymous to spread the joy. If you feel it. If you don't, get it from someone so you could feel it. K, K-I-S-S, kiss. Keep it simple, sweetie. I stopped using the word stupid 15 years ago. When I had a year clean, I started to stop negative self-talk. I started to stop. It takes a lot of time. I no longer call myself names. I don't use negative self-talk. not 100%. I catch it quicker. I see things now like, oh God, Janis, that's the worst thing that could have happened to you. And then I'll get to giggling. Actually, when you think about it, Janis, that's not really the worst thing that can happen to you. There's really a lot worse things that could have happened, and I start going on. So I've learned how to do that, but it's taken me a lot of years to catch that. And the second I use words like stupid or dumb, I get that same feeling inside because, of course, I attribute it to me. Because I've called myself that my whole life. The L, my favorite L word, is love. I think that we can just keep passing the love on to other people. I better check this clock, huh? Keep passing the love on to other people. We have such a gift in here. We are given such a gift of love and laughter. My God, there's so much laughter in this program. I love hearing the laughter, hearing the joy, because there's so much pain. And when we could change that pain to laughter, just even for a moment, even for a moment when we don't have to sit in it, what joy we have. M stands for meetings. I suggest if you're of service in Narcotics Anonymous, you go to meetings. It's really simple. You know, I do H&I. I go to conventions. I get to speak. Do I really need meetings? Yep. How simple it would be to let life get in the way of meetings. And I need to keep remembering. They told me when I got here that I needed to remember where I came from so I don't have to go back there and use again. By going to meetings, I get to keep remembering where I came from. And also by going to meetings, I get to keep remembering how come I got the life that I got, because I kept going to meetings. I think it's really important that we carry the message, an M word, of the miracle, an M word, of recovery in Narcotics Anonymous. N stands for Narcotics Anonymous. It's a good N word. We carry NA literature into any facilities that we go into. We don't carry literature from other programs. We don't carry literature from an event that our church might be having. We carry Narcotics Anonymous literature when we're going into or doing anything related to Narcotics Anonymous. An O word is being open-minded. Anybody here sometimes not open-minded? Yeah, my way or the highway, babe. You know, one of the things that I learned here is my way works for me. My way may not work for you. And the gift that that's given me is I get to sponsor women in this program, tell them how I got my recovery, and allow them to do whatever they need to do, and to love them and support them and to be with them. I don't put I don't put feet in asses. I don't believe in that. That, for me, is not a loving thing to do. For other people, that may work. For me, that doesn't work. For me, it's about love. It's about love. P stands for the real phone lines. PI. PI, we get to tell places about Narcotics Anonymous. Because you see, people don't know about Narcotics Anonymous. They think it's just like, name any other 12-step fellowship. You're all the same. We get to go in there and tell them not only that we're not the same, we're the best. One of the things that I really want to mention for P also is the principles of Narcotics Anonymous. We have very strong, loving spiritual principles. And hopefully we'll remember and carry those principles as we go into different facilities. So we carry the message. A Q is for questions. Let people ask questions. People need to know about our fellowship. We need to be okay with answering questions kindly and out of love. When people ask questions, there's, I just told you that answer. It's a good way to scare them away. I may just have given that answer, but obviously I didn't teach you or give you the answer in the way you needed to hear it. So when you ask me again, I realize that's about me. And I need to explain that answer in a different way so you can understand it. So you could come to Narcotics Anonymous too. And that's, again, it's so easy to say standing up here. It's a lot tougher to have love and patience and tolerance. R is for responsibility and recovery. Is our responsibility? It's our responsibility to remain in recovery. I'm not responsible for your recovery, but I am responsible how I tell you about mine. See, we say that we're powerless over people, places, and things. And yes, we are. And I got to say, and no, we're not. I do have the power to hurt you. I want to say, well, I'm not that powerful, or you're not that powerful to hurt me. But the truth is, we are all tied into each other. And I could say something mean and nasty. And not only will that mean and nasty hurt you, but that mean and nasty makes me feel awful inside. When I'm being self-righteous because I'm not okay with me, and if I'm not okay with me, I want to make you wrong so I could feel right for just that little bit of time. That's not part of my recovery. Just carrying resentment, carrying rage, some other R words that I don't want to carry anymore in my recovery, because they don't hurt you near as much as they hurt me. The S words that I have are serenity. Sure is an easy word to say, standing up here again. I have to pray for that a lot. And the steps of this program. Being of service, being a sponsor. Those are the S words. As a sponsor, I get to carry the message of Narcotics Anonymous to the people that I sponsor. And hope they stay. I sometimes look at I've had the opportunity to work with a lot of women over the years in Narcotics Anonymous. And I look at how few have been able to make the choice to stay here. And if I let myself get into that, I can make it be about me. It took me a long time to understand that I can only be of service and carry this message. And it is up to you to choose whether or not you want to take it and stay here with it. T is for time. Getting time in recovery. Time does matter for me. I have 5,870 days clean. I count every one of them. I write every night. When I had 88 days clean, somebody told me writing worked because you get rid of the stuff. So I started writing when I had 88 days clean. I have not missed a night since. It's not like it's this big deal, because this guy told me I only had to write 5 minutes a day. And I damn sure set the clock, by the way, for 5 minutes, and when it was done, I'm done writing. But I wrote. I no longer time it. Sometimes now I only write for 1 minute. Sometimes I write a way lot longer. The point being that I just write every day. I'm afraid to not write. There's been times when I've actually gone into bed and gone, oh, I've got to write. I don't do that. I said, fuck. That's what I say. And I get up and I'll write. I'm in bed already. And I totally forgot to write. I can't understand why I forgot, but I did. Now I'm going to bed. Good night. I wrote. And keeping that habit for me is what's helped me as I get rid of the stuff on a regular basis. Okay, so the U is understanding and unity. I think unity in Narcotics Anonymous is very important. Because that's all we got. We got each other. And the love and the unity that we get to have in here is like just beyond importance. I don't even know where I want to go with that. I think of the word victory is what I thought of with V. And each day I have a victory in Narcotics Anonymous by staying clean. I have a victory when I write. That's where that came up for me. When I write for those 5 minutes or 2 minutes, whatever it is. I have this victory because I did something for me one more time. Every time I check off something on my to-do list, I check it off with a V because it's a victory for me completing something. Because I never did that in my whole life. W is for willingness. I am very willing to live the program of Narcotics Anonymous. W is also for we. Because I can't do this without you. I am interdependent. I need you. Not interesting. They could come up with that. I absolutely, yeah, I missed the I word, didn't I? Nobody caught it? being interdependent. Oh yeah, because you're writing. You're supposed to signal me, okay? I think it's very important for us to understand there is dependence, there is independence. In Narcotics Anonymous, we have the opportunity to be interdependent. X, ready? I'm excited. I love it when you can make up your own words and spell them the way you want. X is for being excited. I am excited about Narcotics Anonymous. I love this program. I love what I've got. And we can pass this excitement on to each other. Why? There's a lot of why words. I picked a bunch of them, but the word youth is something that comes up for me quite a bit in carrying the message of Narcotics Anonymous. And especially if you're my age. I want to beg you to know that we're all the same. When we enter Narcotics Anonymous, whether we used for 1 year or 50 years, whether we're 13 years old or 90 years old, we are all the same. We have all reached whatever bottom is a bottom for us. And I hate it when we put down somebody because they're young. Well, you don't really know what it was like. You weren't out there long enough. Yeah, they do, and yeah, they were. And I am so grateful when I see younger people coming into Narcotics Anonymous. What a great message they get to carry. What a great message. And they get to live so they could carry that message too. Z. You know, this was one, I couldn't find a word in Narcotics Anonymous. And I sat down with the dictionary. And the word that came up for me was zenith. The definition of the word zenith is the highest vertical point of the heavens. And that's what Narcotics Anonymous is for me. It is the highest vertical point of the heavens. Without Narcotics Anonymous, I could not be here today. So I'm done. One of the things that I only want to tell you is you're in for a hell of a ride. You got to hold on to your ass. And I love you. I truly love you. I love you means if you need to talk, I will listen. And if you need to listen, I will talk. For me, I love you does not mean come on over to my place. If I like you, it does. But I could love you and not like you. I can be there for you in recovery and not want to hang out with you. So you're in for a hell of a ride, and hold on to your ass. And if you have trouble holding on to your ass, please hold on to mine. Thank you.